Paddy Power, sponsors of the Road to Cheltenham.
Day 3 of the Cheltenham Festival 2025, and the stories kept on coming. This day belonged to Rachael Blackmore, to Henry de Bromhead and to Brian Atchison of Robcour, with a double air of entitlement to the first, and most importantly with the mercurial, the talented but has been fragile along the way, Bob Olinger, who has won the Stayers hurdle for them. What a lovely ride that was. She's in that horse's head, isn't she?
Yeah, tracked them all the way down the hill. Probably learned a bit at Christmas. She got into a duel with JJ Slevin out of the back on him. And went and gave home by the Lydia lead, who ran her down, and she was going to make that mistake a second time, and tracked them all the way down the hill, put a marker on Chihupu's back. I thought when the wall park pushed Chihupu, he was going to outstay Bob Olinger, but Rachael kept her powder dry for as long as she could, and when he quickened up.
He really didn't. I just didn't believe he could do that, but
not at that trip.
No, at that trip, exactly.
No.
And neither did Brian Atchison. He was saying afterwards that he felt so sorry for Gordon Elliott and co, the whole team, because he'd said to them, keep Chihupu's powder dry all the way through the season, go straight to the Stayers hurdle, that's his race, and then his own horse comes and goes past them.
I know, but look, isn't that the beauty of it? But look, a horse that had the world at his feet at one point, and things have gone wrong for him. Chasing didn't work out. Took him a long time to come back, but by God, he's come back on the biggest day, hasn't he?
He really has, and an important feat as well for Rachael Blackmore and also for Henry de Bromhead. They've now won all of the open Grade 1s at the Cheltenham Festival. That is an incredible achievement.
It is, and it shouldn't be lost on anyone. And chuck in a Grand National there as well.
Of course.
It is a huge achievement for them, but and then an up and down sort of the first couple of days, but just shows you, keep trying, keep going, you'll get there in the end. And
Rachael obviously had to come back from that really serious injury. She was sitting on the sidelines, Henry was flying at the time, seeing horses she would have ridden. You know what that's like.
I do, and Darragh O'Keefe got on them and took off, and she didn't get back on everything when she came back, and she's had to work herself back into those rides, work herself back to the top of the pecking order, but you could see it in her after she won the Stayers hurdle. That was a sigh of, that's for the doubters, that's for the knockers.
Yes.
I can still do this.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And Henry was speaking so well afterwards about exactly that. Her work ethic, and
everything.
She knows what she's
professional, like, and you look at her and you have to admire her, but she didn't give up, and she got herself back to where she should be.
Yes, that's right. That's right. You've got to feel for Gordon Elliott and Jack Kennedy in the team, haven't you?
Big time. And the horses are running well. They're just not winning. The two big bullets in the Stayers hurdle can turn off the bends.
Yes.
Second and third, they run the races. You do. It's just not bouncing for them, is it?
It really isn't, and Jack is limping. Sam Ewing looks like he's going to be out for a while as well. I mean, the brighter days ahead on the first day, it seems to have set the tone. I hope that they can come back in some way tomorrow.
You're looking at it, wondering which one maybe Voodoo in the last, that would be any good to Jack, but look, you hope they can. I mean, they're big players, big people in the sport. You'd like them to have some bit of a rub with green.
You really would. We should talk about Air of Entitlement, the first leg of Henry and Rachael and Brian's double.
Thought 6.5 was home and host.
So did I.
And even going to the last, you knew Rachael was coming, but I thought Keith Donoghue had saved enough. And we jumped the last and went. I thought 6.5 was going to go and win, but Air of Entitlement with that win over 2.5 miles, it was stamina really in the end that came to the fore. And she's a good mare. I don't think 6.5 lost much in defeat though.
Yes, well, Gavin Cromwell, he's got his team in just incredible form. He's had so many places. Luckily, he's had a win with Subtown, but he's had 4 seconds now, and I think he's beginning to get sick of that spot over there.
It's people say it's great to take part. It's great to be part of it.
You never bought that?
No. Second is the loneliest. I'm not going to say it's the loneliest because it's not, but second is a lonely position.
The class act of the day was Factile, winning the Ryanair as he liked in the hands of Mark Walsh for Willie Wellens. That was a performance of pure class. Did the race pan out as you expected it?
No, I couldn't see Jungle Boogie making the running. I tipped Jungle Boogie each way. I was full sure he'd be coasting around trying to pick up the pieces, and I knew at the start when he booked out that was going to be the end of his race. No, it didn't. Protectorate went forward. Il Francais. It did after, I suppose, 4 or 5 fences.
He worked his way to the front.
And James Reilly just kept the same rhythm, kept the same.
It was a beautiful move.
Yeah, it was, and away he went. But I just think dropping down in trip, I think the tempo really suited Factile.
Yes.
He was attacking his fences, he was jumping, Mark was aggressive on him. It was all forward, there was no negativity, and it really suited Factile.
Yeah, it really did. And Willie Mullins hasn't given up on the Gold Cup dream for Factile. Next year, he says.
Yeah, now you couldn't, I'm not going to say you couldn't doubt him, but maybe he will go and stay. But I do think galloping and jumping, he settled into a beautiful rhythm, whereas you always look like you're trying to temper that when you're dropping in around Leopardstown. So I think that going forward and being positive is a big plus to him.
Yeah, Henry de Bromhead's the team in great well-being, with Hartwood taking second and Alain at his age getting third as well. So that was superb for them. James Reedley saying about Ile Francais that he didn't really handle the track. Let's talk about some of the other races. There's stories everywhere. Doddy the Great winning the Pertens, named after the great Doddy Weir, for Nicky Henderson. What did you think of that?
And Brian Hughes.
I was just about to say, three-time champion, somebody who we should see here at the Cheltenham Festival every year. Doesn't get many rides.
No, he doesn't, but that's the nature of the sport. The yards you work for, the places you are, if they haven't got good horses, you just don't get the rides. And Brian's a very talented rider. He got an opportunity today and he didn't leave it behind him. And Doddy the Great, look, it'd be a cliff horse for some people, but he was tough today. And Jericho de Repenay just wasn't battled hard enough for it, was he?
No, possibly not. I thought it was a ride of typical guile and nuance from Brian. I thought it was just beautiful. Every move he made, you thought, oh yeah, that's good. Oh yeah, that's good. Caldwell Potter, well, Harry Codlin is not going to look a gift horse in the mouth, is he?
No, he's not.
Given a freebie up front in the Jack Richards.
Yeah, he was given it soft, but he didn't give it away either. And he took every length he was getting in the air. He never slowed Caldwell Potter down. He always kept the pressure on him. He kept him forward. I think he may have checked his stride once, the sixth last. Other than that, everything was forward. It was positive. It was aggressive. It was a really good ride now. He might have got it easy, but he took every length in the air.
He did, and it was a 50th Cheltenham Festival winner for Paul Nicholls. Of course, in the colours of the late John Hales. Lisa Hales was here to celebrate it. She got very emotional, understandably, afterwards. But 50 up for Paul Nicholls. Oh, he wanted that.
He did, and good to see it too.
Yeah, a horse that has put a bit of pressure with his price tag as well. Jaguar was very good for John Joe O'Neill Jr., who spoke beautifully about Michael O'Sullivan immediately afterwards. Josh Guerrero and Ollie Green, the winning trainers, they're good at this.
They are, and he's a bit more up his sleeve too. Wasn't a smooth run through the race, had to get himself out of a few pockets, missed the last, but John Joe knew where the winning post was.
Yeah, he did, and he did well to really pick himself up. He'd had two falls in his previous two races, one of which sadly was Springwell Bay for his brother and father, who we sadly lost, and he was riding with the spirit of Michael O'Sullivan, who he always used to stay with him when he came over for Cheltenham. And finally, just now, we've had Daily Present with a first winner for Barry Stone, first ride in Britain, and a fourth festival winner for Paul Nolan.
Yeah, and Paul was a little unlucky maybe in the per time, so Fleet of a Dancer came from a long way back, but Daily Present grounded out, didn't he?
Yeah.
Johnny Who got to the front, ran around at the last, and I think threw it away, and Daily Present didn't give it back to him.
Well, I love the way that Barry Stone was watching what Derek O'Connor was doing, hugging the inside. You see, he was just learning from the best there, wasn't he?
It is, but when you're riding a horse race, if you go out and follow the best jockey, chances are you're only going to give yours a one-length worse ride. It's not a bad plan.
It's exactly what Barry said in the winners' enclosure afterwards. Right, that's it for day 3 as the rain comes down here at Cheltenham. We've got one more day. Make sure you rejoin us for the Road to Cheltenham wrap tomorrow.
Paddy Power, sponsors of the Road to Cheltenham.